You are watching video on SEE Grade 10 Subject Science. The chapters for Grade 10 will be discussed in this video series. So the content of this video will give you complete explanation of the chapter Energy, chapter 3 in physics portion. The chapter is going to be explained in 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. So in previous parts we have studied classification of sources of energy, major sources of energy and alternative sources of energy. This is part 4 of the explanation. So chapter broadly consists of 4 parts: classification of sources of energy, major sources of energy, alternative sources of energy and energy crisis. Now we are going to study energy crisis part. So here we will see the definition of energy crisis. The future scarcity of sources of energy on the earth due to overpopulation, urbanization and industrialization is called energy crisis. Definition of energy crisis: future scarcity of sources of energy on the earth due to overpopulation, urbanization and industrialization is called energy crisis. Present fossil fuels means mineral oil deposit will last up to 2037 AD. You need to remember these points clearly. Energy demand is increasing by 2.3% every year. So you need to remember these two data to study energy crisis. On the basis of research done, old and new mineral oil deposits means fossil fuel deposits in the world have the mineral oil to be sufficient up to 2076 AD. Okay, new and old mineral oil deposit reserves will last up to 2076 AD. But there is another fact to deal with, that is energy demand is increasing every year at the rate of 2.3%. So present mineral oil deposit will last up to 2037 only. Okay, so there is increasing demand and because of that it will get finished faster. So the energy deposit will last up to 2037 AD only. The period after this, there will not be enough fossil fuels left to be used on the earth, and this period is referred as energy crisis. So this period is called energy crisis. Now in order to understand this, let's have a look at this data. According to data 2001, the present status of energy in the world is as follows: mineral oil, coal, natural gas. So these three come under fossil fuels. Okay, so fossil fuels constitute 79% of energy source in the world. Okay, so this energy source is going to get finished in near future, and that condition is called energy crisis. Other forms of energy, these occupy lesser percentage than fossil fuels. This is the data worldwide. In case of Nepal, we have this data: status of energy consumption in Nepal according to the study of 2019 year. Sources of energy: biomass 80%, petroleum products 12.5%. Petroleum products come under fossil fuel here, so this is 12.5%. In Nepal, 12.5% fossil fuel use. So this form of energy is going to get depleted very soon, and that period is called energy crisis. So the causes of energy crisis: overuse of mineral oil, overuse of fossil fuels, petroleum, kerosene, diesel, etc. Over dependency on the sources of energy. Population explosion, there is growing number of people every time. Lack of efficient alternative source of energy. So far we have not made efficient use of alternative source of energy like solar energy, hydroelectricity, etc. So we are completely dependent on fossil fuels. So lack of efficient alternative sources of energy like solar energy, wind energy, hydroelectricity, etc. So to prevent energy crisis in Nepal, what should we do in order to prevent energy crisis in context of our country? So for our country, by using more alternative sources of energy like hydroelectricity, we have we have high possibility of hydroelectricity production in large amount, 83,000 megawatt capacity. So in that at least 50% energy can be harnessed easily, hydroelectricity. And next is solar energy and biomass energy. So in our country, biomass energy is also very feasible to use. It is most suitable source of energy among alternative sources of energy in our country. Biomass energy, biofuel, gobar gas plant, etc. Okay, so by controlling population explosion in our country, we can we can use the measures to control population. That also minimizes excessive use of energy. So these are the ways to prevent energy crisis in context of our country. So now we'll see energy crisis, energy conservation, energy saving. How can we save energy? How can we conserve present sources of energy? More renewable sources of energy should be used. Solar energy, wind energy, hydroelectricity should be used, and efficient alternative sources of energy should be developed. Solar energy, hydroelectricity, wind energy should be developed. Economic and scientific use of energy should be done. We have to be very wise and trained to use energy sources. Population explosion should be controlled. Use of biofuel, gobar gas, should be promoted. So for our country, biofuel or gobar gas is suitable. Give reason: scientists are busy at designing solar equipment. It is because solar energy is a perpetual source of energy, and by using it, non-renewable sources of energy can be conserved for the future. We can push energy crisis further back. Okay, if we conserve our present sources of energy, if we make economical use of our present energy sources, it will push the energy crisis further. So scientists are busy in designing solar energy equipments. Now, energy crisis is the burning issue at present. So worldwide, this conversation is going on. Explain. It is because energy crisis may bring hazards to or dangers to the existence of human beings, because we depend on energy for almost every work in our life, for almost activity in our life. So this may bring a hazard to our existence, as in the absence of major sources of energy they cannot survive. So it will be very, very difficult for us to survive in absence of sources of energy. Okay, our survival is dependent on energy sources. We need energy sources to do all kinds of work in our life, for cooking food, for washing clothes, okay, for drying food, preservation of food, and for running vehicles and industries, and almost every activity we depend on energy sources. Sun is the ultimate source of energy. Explain. So this was discussed in previous part. So how can you write the answer in a concise form? It is given here. Sun is the ultimate source of energy. It is because many sources of energy are products of solar energy, directly or indirectly. Fossil fuel is the stored solar energy. The energy was stored during photosynthesis done by plants when they were alive. Hydroelectricity is also product of solar energy, as water cycle is conducted by the sun. Similarly, wind energy, tidal energy, and biofuel are also products of solar energy. So sun is the ultimate source of energy. It is a parent form of energy from which other forms of energy have been produced. So with this, we finish discussion of this chapter, explanation of this chapter.